Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Channel, Mopars.com. It is Saturday night, passing some time out here while some paint dries, quite literally. And I'm playing another round if I need to get stuff off of my bench so I can put it to use and make space. So, what we have is a Labor Day haul of sorts, and it comes from Toolbox Widget. So, kind of been on my agenda to check this out for a while. Wanted to proceed cautiously. Again, stuff like this, I always like to get a little bit in, try it, see how I like it, see how it compares to what I have, contemplate how it would compare to things that I know of that we don't have, and just sort of take it from there. So the end goal at some point in time, as soon as I've acquired what I think is like a decent selection, to be pleased with, various organizers from all walks of life, we'll come in, we'll have a video, we'll compare and contrast them, and I'll ultimately tell you what I prefer and why. So, with Toolbox Widget, what is the perks of Toolbox Widget? Number one, it's made in America. Number two, it is veteran owned. And number three, that particular veteran was a combat veteran and became a mechanic afterwards. So you have all that going for you. Made in America, and it's owned by somebody that you want to support. The other thing, I followed them on Instagram for quite a while. They frequently have promotions, right? What does that mean for you? That means you save money. And Labor Day is when I finally cashed in. A lot of times they'll do like a standard deal where maybe a Plier Organizer is 15% off the entire month. Maybe it's the wrench organizers 15% off. But when they do the big stuff, like Labor Day, it was like everything is 15%. I was like, well, that's the time to go. So that's what we did, and at least I think that's how it was. I'm not 100% sure. It's free shipping. It got to me very quick. The main thing, a lot of places do free shipping, which is great, but they spend like a week to 10 days processing your order, because you didn't pay for expedited shipping, which is actually, you didn't pay for them to get on top of it immediately. So they were very prompt, very efficient. It just came in an envelope, no damage, zero complaints on that front. Now, this is one of those things. I've opened this, I struggled. I really struggled to get it back in the box, but I did somehow. So if you're going to play with these and you want to put them back in the box, just be aware. It's going to take you some time. But anyway, I think this is something that is going to shine best when it's actually in use. I think this is an item that if I spill it out here on the bench and we go over pricing, I don't know that many of you will be impressed unless it just lights a fire in your head and you're like, that's perfect, that's exactly what I need, it's what I've been trying to find. And for those of you that it checks that box, fantastic. For everyone else, I think you're going to be like me and we're going to need to actually have this stuff in place with everything lined up and then be like, oh hey, that is kind of cool, it works well. May not be the case, I might hate it, but my initial impression when I opened this was not thrilled as much as I would have loved to have been. Let me just go ahead and get the worst part of this out of the way. The precursor, the background story, all that's fantastic. The negative side here is the price point. Everything you see here, wrench organizer, plier organizer, and each one of the 3 boxes of screwdriver organizers, $24.95 is the standard retail price. I'm going to tell you right now, I would only buy this stuff when it's on sale. I might wind up loving it. I might say, oh yeah, if you get something on sale, throw something else on. It's a great company, great product. This point in time, I'm not ready to do that. $25 for each one of these is a very tough pill to swallow. If you're familiar with plastic, and you do any manufacturing in plastic, and the larger the quantity you go, the better the price. And it's really not that expensive. It's not like aluminum or stainless or specialty metals or anything like that. There's no extra processes like powder coating or paint or enamel this or that. It's just plastic. You're done. And so factoring that in, it's like, man, I'm not one that really likes to critique stuff. Like Hazette is absurdly expensive for reasons I can't explain. This is something I feel like if it had a lower price points, I think far more people would purchase it and discover it and like it. tell people about, type of deal. I feel like 25 bucks a pop is sort of price inhibitive in my opinion. So you got to keep in mind we brought a lot of stuff in. I do so thriftily, like tool of the day, clearance, blowouts, things along those lines. It's not typical that we jump out and it's like, oh, new, gotta have it, spend top dollar. It's like, oh, if I wait a week or two, price might come down. And that's really the big negative on this. I'm gonna go ahead and open this thing back up, and maybe we'll throw these together and just kind of rough them in. There will be a lot of good things I'm gonna say as we go through this. And again, this is the one I had opened. I don't exactly know if that's how they had them, but all right, we can talk some of the features here as you can sort of see this a little better. So one of the big claims to fame is if a tool's missing, you're going to know because there's an orange stripe. Similar to foam inlays, if your place of work does something like that, if you do it for yourself. If you've ever wondered why like the trays aren't just like black or grayscale foam or whatever the default color is, it's so it highlights it and it draws your attention to the fact that, hey, this knucklehead has lost the new Knipex twin grips. What's the deal? Or, look, your shift is over. Where's the number 2 Phillips type of a thing? So, big selling point there. The thing is, I feel like this looks way better online than it does in person. You can kind of see like they sort of are popping out, right? It's also not near as vibrant of an orange as it seems online and in pictures. It's sort of like in person. It's kind of pale. It's like I think translucent would be the best way to put it. And again, this is me, I hate critiquing a place like this, but like that one right there, you can see it's like it's falling out. And I'm not sure if they like press back down well. The other thing that I can tell you, let's just go ahead and, you know what, it's almost out. So let's just grab one of these. There we go. So it's 50% in, 50% out. All right, so this is it. That's your striped indicator there. Again, it's almost like if you could imagine if you brought straws, orange straws, it's almost like that, just translucent. It's not solid like we have here on an oiler. It's not like these little plastic razor blades. It's sort of a translucent orange, right? The thing is, it does work well for what it's doing. It definitely draws your attention to that. Where that looks to be a metal cast piece, that's because each one of these has a magnet. The magnet, they claim it has a 7-pound pull strength, which, the main thing, it's going to like hold in place for you in your drawer. This is something that'll never go back in with gloves. You can see it's a V-notch shape. It should work well for screwdrivers. These, I don't think it's going to show on camera, but there's another one like falling out, but they were just like, I'm not going to say filthy. I'm just going to say like incredibly dusty. Like I would feel like these were manufactured like beside me at work type of a deal. And the grain elevator blows with the southwest wind. The landfill comes with the north wind. The road department comes, with a west wind. It's just, they're dusty. And I don't know why. It would seem to me like it's processed and packed. I don't know what the story is. So yeah, that's really the negatives there without having used these. The other thing is, like, if you're moving these around a lot, they will just kind of fall apart sometimes on you. Again, this is very limited use with me, so I'm assuming it would just be compounded with more frequent moving and interaction. However, the good thing is with these, this isn't a deal where it's like it holds 10 screwdrivers, and it's a rail and it's fixed. The biggest, most exciting thing Toolbox Widget has going for them, in my opinion, is that this is totally modular. And what I mean by that, while I complain about these easily coming apart, that's also a good thing in the sense that this is what's going to happen. So we brought in a lot of screwdriver sets. Lord knows we have, right? And it's very, very rare that you're going to have a screwdriver set that has equal length drivers, okay? Let's say that you got a number 1, let's just 0 through 3 Phillips, and then a stubby 1 and a stubby 2. You're doing something with small electronics, I don't know. So if this is laid out like a conventional fixed screwdriver holder, you're going to have some issues because, you know, your handle size is going to be radically different. Your shaft length is going to be different. So the stubby sets right up here, and that would mean if this is the edge of your toolbox drawer, the stubby's here, but then when you come to this next slot and you want to put your number 1 or even your number 0 with a long shaft, like a precision driver we could even do, all of a sudden you need more space here. And so when you want to elevate this up to gain clearance for your precision driver on the 0, well, then the stubby has to go up too because this is all fixed, right? Then we come in, and this one over here is going to be a number 2 Phillips, and it's got a 4-inch shaft, but the handle is like as big as where this shaft terminated almost. So again, now you've got like dead space here. And any other non-modular organizer, you kind of just waste that space. You cannot maximize it, if you follow what I'm saying. Again, this will all be much easier to understand when we have things populated. But with Toolbox Widget, since it is modular, if this is our fixed location, the edge of the drawer, and we're going up towards the open real estate, the stubby can be here. The precision driver can be there. The number 1 can be here. The number 2 can be here. And the number 3 can be way up there. So what that means is, let's say then that we've got the same brand 5-piece set that's slotted. Okay, so yeah, you could come over here and do that, but let's say that it's just a long narrow drawer you're using at the tops. Well, stubby is here, and the shaft doesn't even extend past this, right? It's just, it terminates there. So what you could do is if you stagger this in the opposite fashion, and you had your slotted stubby here, and then your really long slotted here, you fit 10 screwdrivers in a space where you would have 5, essentially. That's kind of like the selling point there, if you sort of catch my drift. The claim on the magnets is that they will go through thin drawer liners. I have not experienced these, you know, yet. I know I've got some really thin drawer liners. I've got some old Craftsman stuff. I've got stuff in the Husky box. So we have at least 3 different iterations that we can test out. But that is kind of the bread and butter of your screwdriver organizers. Now, included with this setup, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And 12 is right here. And then you've got these little spacers. Those will come in handy if you need to do some custom stuff, some creative things. There are no magnets on the spacers. That may be a benefit, it may be a detriment. It just kind of depends on your setup. So while we're on the topic of the screwdriver ones, which we're thinking like, okay, did you really need to buy 3 of them? I thought you just told us that you like to ease into this stuff. Well, I do, but if you look right there, what is this? It's a ratchet. What's that? It's an extension. So that's sort of where I'm thinking my overlap may be, and I'm pretty excited about. But again, you can see modular tool organizing, 12 organizers, 8 spacers, professional, DIY, whatever you may be. Tools obviously sold separately. Patents pending. Let's come over here. Assembled and packed by veterans in the USA with a global component. Oh, okay. That's kind of furthers my thinking that, you know, these could be sold for considerably less. But again, we shall see. Now, coming in here on the backside, this is kind of going to give you an idea. I believe these are all snap-ons, right? So all you snap-on people, you love your little plastic trays that come with your sets, right? Well, they're cool. They do the job. They keep it organized, tidy. You can see like, hey, something's missing from this tray. Where is it? Oh, yeah, I left it on that job. It's on the fan shroud. Check this out, though. With the Toolbox Widget, and that's kind of very, very difficult to see the detail what I want you to. You've got a ridiculously long pick over here, right? You've got these in order, but if you wanted to, you could have, you know, the widget out here. You could double them up, whatever you need to do. Here, you can kind of see they've added that row. They've added this row. They've done lots of things, and they've essentially, if you can't tell, these were like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like, I don't know, 7 plus plastic trays, and now it's been reduced down to this, and they freed up all that real estate. All of a sudden you have room for a Torx driver set, you have room for specialty screwdrivers, super ridiculously long ones, you have room for some billet wrenches, whatever it might be. It's freed up that much real estate. As you know, toolboxes, usually expensive. Real estate is something you can't just go create more of. So when you max this out, when you like go for broke, acquire tons of these, you can do some pretty impressive things. Now, some of you may prefer plastic tray. Some of you may prefer foam. Some of you might do a mix of everything. You might have some stuff that didn't come with trays. You might have some things that you pick up and piece together that didn't get a tray. These become a very viable option in that situation. Now, moving on to the plier organizers, you're getting 12 of them again, so kind of you could think of it as like $2 a piece, plus some spacers thrown in maybe there. So that makes it seem a little better, but again, it's just, that's a pretty expensive thing. If you were to just buy one set of these and love them and say, I got to do the whole box in them. Let's be honest, most of you have your boxes at work, you have boxes at home, you have a cart. To take full advantage of the system, you would spend a ton of money. I don't know. Maybe if that's the case, let's say that you buy one of each. Angled wrench holder, vertical wrench holder, plier, screwdriver. And you're like, this is it, this is what I need. Maybe you can hit the company up and be like, yo, I'm about to, spend like $650 on these little things. Cut me some slack, throw me something for free. Maybe they'd work with you there. It seems like they're pretty cool people. It's just the amount of money that you would invest to like really trick out a toolbox with these is kind of a little intimidating, I'm not gonna lie. So what do we have here? This is the Modular Plier Organizer. I'm kind of excited about this one. Let's see here, we should probably cover that. We'll just go here. So connect, add, or remove as many modular widgets as you want. Missing tool indicator shows any lost tools with orange stripe. Strong magnets in the base hold widgets securely in place. Works with thin drawer liners. Again, we'll test that eventually. Widgets are 1.5 inch tall and hold pliers vertically, saving 30% or more of drawer space. Universal fit allows pliers to connect with any other toolbox widget. Now this is a big deal. So let's go back to Screwdriver Man here, Snap-on guy. He condensed his collection and he's like, hey, I've got some pliers spilling over, Right there on the edges of every single screwdriver widget, he could put a plier widget or a wrench widget. It's all going to connect. So again, that is another cool thing that they've done here. There's 10 of these here that are 13 millimeter wide openings. There's 2 that are 18 millimeter wide. So what does that mean? Like you've got your super fat handle pliers that never fit in any of the racks that you buy. The 18 millimeters will hopefully accommodate them. Something I would like to see from Toolbox Widget is the ability to kind of like customize this. If, let's say I've got little wire racks that I'm perfectly content with, but none of my fat handled pliers fit in them, and I find that they fit here, I'd like to be able to buy a 10 pack of those or add them on individually type of. Even if they made you do it in groups of 10, like, well, if you want 8, if you just need 8 of those, you gotta buy 2 more, anything. I think that would be something that would benefit both the end user and the business because they're gonna get more sales. Otherwise, again, you'd have to buy these. To get 10 of them, you'd have to buy 5 sets of these. You've sunk $130, into this to get 10 things that you actually want. So it's just kind of a catch-22 deal there. The measurements are based on the inside opening of the plier. Another thing I have not mentioned, lifetime warranty. I'm not sure what all could go wrong with these. I think they're fairly robust for what they are. And that said, I guess, if something does go wrong, if the magnets pull out, I guess if I don't know, maybe like the orange strips all come out, I think they would probably be the type of place that would take care of you. Case in point, this one was already missing an orange strip. These are also fairly dirty. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like they're covered in grease or something. It's just like lint, dust, that type of stuff is all over them. And it's gonna suck having to go in and clean these before I put them in use. So, how do these compare? Obviously, they do not come with spacers, which is interesting. I would have thought spacers might have been more useful here, But again, I have zero experience with the product. I'm sure they know what they're doing. But it seems like with the pliers, if you had fat handles or jaws or, you know, angled 45, 90 something, seems like that would come in handy here. So that said, let's get the measurements on the screwdriver ones. It says they're 1.5 inches tall, and I believe that's what these were, was it not? Yeah, so what is the difference exactly? I'm going to grab one of these. I'm going to grab one of these. So you work with me here. I'm going to set that down. And I'm going to get this guy. So this, in my right hand, is screwdriver guy. This is plier guy. Now I think I got one of the fat guys, which is unfortunate. But check it out. So screwdriver is sort of a V-notch. This is obviously a U, that way I won't screw this up. If I wanted to connect these though, let's just go ahead and do that. Gotta admit, that's kind of a cool deal. Again, that's the big perk of being modular. If you just wanted these two connected, you're done. If you want to string 30 of them together, go to town, young man. But overall height is the same. Again, I do think this was the fat guy. So let me place him back so I don't screw it up. And then, let's see. So yeah, this will be one of the thin ones. Alright, so these are both plier organizers here. You can see this is for your fat handle, this is for your thin handle. Very easy to tell the difference right there, as this dwarfs it quite literally. Side by side, you'd be looking at this. So this is sort of a big U. This is kind of more of like a dog ear. And then if we connect here, screwdriver and ratchets, it's like a, you know, a dough face or a V, U, W, whatever you want to do. Before I screw up, we're going to place that back, set this down, and I want to get into our final item, which is the wrench organizer. Now, you got two options when it comes to these. You've got vertical and you've got angled. Okay, so I think I went with the vertical because I was thinking it would save more space. Also, I don't think I've ever really had anything vertical. I think it's always been angled, so I was sort of intrigued by that. This will hold 15 wrenches, so you're getting slightly more bang for your buck. Getting 15 into 25, you do the math, sort of reduces everything down for you. Spinning it around, that gives you an idea of like the potential that this product has for organizing your wrench drawer. I've got some plans for these. I'm not going to tell you what they are just yet. One kit will hold 15 wrenches and contains 6 double and 3 single organizers. We'll have to investigate that. Connect, add, or remove missing tool, strong magnets. Holds 5 30-seconds or 4 millimeters, up to 2-inch or 50-millimeter wrenches in any order, depending on brand. Widgets are once again 1.5 inches tall. Holds wrenches vertically, saving 30% or more of drawer space. When wrenches become too tall, swap to the angled wrench widgets. Universal fit allows widgets to connect to all the others. Lifetime warranty, yada yada. You get the idea. So, I'm going to try to get this thing opened. And I'm not sure what they meant by... Let me read that again. 6 double and 3 single organizers. Okay. So these are sort of a straight V shape, and you'll note they have this like kind of unfinished look to them at the top. This is something I wasn't thrilled about. And what it is, there's another one popping out of there, the orange strip, but they sell size labels. Obviously, they don't know if you're going to be buying this for SAE, if you're going to be buying it for metric, if you have nothing that's imperial or fractional, if you don't do metric. They don't know. They sell size labels, and they're pretty comprehensive, but they're an additional $10. When you come in vertically, I think it's when you would most be inclined to want the size labels. That said, you can usually tell, have a rough ballpark, like if you need a 19, it's here. If you need, 5/16, it's here type of a thing. If you miss it, you're usually like 1 or 2 wrenches off. You do the math, proceed accordingly. But I kind of would like to see that included, even if you had to check the box, or if you could like check the box. If you buy this, maybe you can then check the box for SAE for like half the price, maybe $5. I don't know. Again, to me, I feel like I'm complaining a lot, but again, I think where these are going to shine is when I'm actually got them in a box, set up, in use, functional, and I can say, wow, you know, that saved a lot of space. Right now, there's a lot to be intrigued about, but there's also like a lot of like, man, it's even on sale, the like total price point here was $106. When I look at the stuff here, I'm like, I don't know that I see $106 worth of material, but that's just me. And again, like I said, I think that may change once I kind of get these set up, and then you'll probably hear me like, okay, well, you know, yeah, they're a little pricey, but whoa, you know, look what we did here in this drawer. This is amazing. But then if I love these and I want to go back and buy more, you'll probably hear me say like, man, you know, I'd like to get like 6 more sets of this and 2 of that, but I'm going to wait for a sale. So the big thing is that I can tell you, as I mentioned, they tend to do like a monthly promo and then kind of a seasonal, you know, like holiday type based stuff. You can usually find a pretty decent sale. My advice, once more, buy these when they're on sale, especially if you're going to try them out. Unless you see this and you're like, oh, amazing, perfect, just what I've looked for. Yeah, you go do it. You pull the trigger. Everybody else on the fence, follow them. Keep tabs on the website, whatever you prefer, but when you see the sale, that is your time to give it a go. And then, like I said, if you love it, hey, great, go to town. If you don't, you saved yourself a little bit of cash, you know, in the discovery phase. So I'm not 100% sure. I guess what they meant is, where these are still modular, you're going to have like 2 wrenches here. So case in point, that funky SK set that I got, you know, that was the 2 half-moon wrenches. Well, this is perfect for that. And then let's say that you've got like, I don't know, a 8 and a 9 millimeter that's like an underbelly pan set, and that's only things you have that's that small. Well, you can use that. And then, of course, the big thing is if you go with their size labels, my advice would probably be to buy 1 SAE, 1 metric, you know, and piece it together unless you're doing full sets. You can go to town. There's another, and then right here we've finally gotten to a point where we have single ones, which of course go together. I don't really know the logic of that. You know, I guess it's so you could like it's probably based off of set counts, I would assume is what they did. You know, like you'll have a 7-piece set, so you would want 2, 2, 2, and 1. If you then were like the guy that was like, okay, well, you know, these idiots stopped at 3/4, I need a 7/8 wrench. They've got you covered. You can come in up here, and if you're like me and you want 15/16, which is never included in almost anything, you can piece it together again. If you're adding 2 wrenches instead of adding 2 singles, you can add 1. It makes sense, you know, now that I think about it, you know, and again, going with most set counts of wrenches, which seem to always be like 7, 9, 13 type of a thing, right? But I think what I will do is quit rambling here, and we will just try quickly to sort of mock something up with these. So the wrench guys, again, they're like a really deep V. They're closest in comparison to the screwdrivers, which have that drop down. But again, still different, so it is neat. These are all super, super close, but they're just subtly different enough. Unless you've like totally intermingled them, you should be able to figure it out. But I guess the perk is you could play with these and do whatever you want to with them. But again, I don't know that this showcases as well here, you know, on the bench in an unboxing type of a deal, as it does like in a drawer loaded with tools. So that's what we're going to try to do. I'm not going to populate the whole thing. That'll take a long time. What I'm going to do is try to sling a few out, put them in place, and kind of get a feel for what we can do with these. So let's go ahead and try to make that happen. Alright, so it's not that I love being right, but man, I love being right. I'm having a great time over here. And it's pretty much exactly like I said. When you look at this and you think of the price at $25 a piece, you're like, I don't know about that. I started putting it together in the box, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool, and I'm super geeked about it. I'm so excited. I was actually coming over here. I dumped out box number 2. Again, being totally upfront and transparent with you, there was a black piece that came out, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Wonder what that is. I think it's down here. Yes, this. And I didn't know what it was. It just looked like a black washer or something. And then figured it out. So right there, you can kind of see like this little magnet. Obviously, it should not be here. It should be there. Let's see if this is a simple fix or not. I'll also, on a negative note, tell you it is insanely difficult, at least for me. Maybe you have smaller hands or kids you can bribe. It's really hard to get those little orange pieces back in place. Is that gonna stay? Guess so. So nothing major, but that was sad. This one is just the same way with the dust. Again, minor deal, but it is kind of annoying. But these, like the ones that were coming out, that orange strip in the middle, really annoying to get those seated in place, and I try and they still come out, so that's something on the negative side. But I promise, if you're like me, I'm just throwing this together. I'm just taking what was in a drawer and I'm kind of moving it around, making space so I can lay some stuff out to show you the potential. And I've not done anything with a screwdriver. It's ratchets and extensions and T-handle. Like, I'm doing some cool stuff over here. I'm super geeked about it. So I'm going to get back to that, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Alright, it is getting late, and this is not the best example for the wrenches. It's kind of a mess. These are all incomplete sets. I just kind of buy what I need. But the Heyco Maxlines, I've never had like any textile case or anything. It's all been bought individually. So this kind of gets them sorted. Back there, we got my double offsets. 2 common sizes, metric and SAE. Again, this allows you to do weird stuff like this because it's modular, which is great. Right here, the jokers, I use them so much I don't like keeping them in that little canvas pouch back there. I will say, as I shut this 19 from Heyco sort of drags sometimes, so that's where the angled would come in. But now check this out. Again, this is just me derping around, throwing stuff together. Had to move all kinds of crud to make this happen, and this is not how we would do stuff, but just to show you like the possibilities here, right? So everything on this bottom row, from the Husky ratchets all the way over through the Witte Drivers into this extension T-handle ratchet mess, these are all the screwdriver holders. There's some spacers here and there. This big scraper, that's just always kind of been something that I have here. I keep it separate from like my cheap ones. And it works well. The thing that's usually in this corner, yikes, is not that. It's the little Toolbox there, so I mean that works great. Let's get this up here. Oh, that was so close to dropping a ton of stuff. But basically, like, that's not going to apply to the Toolbox widget, but you can leave a gap and it'll fit fine, so that's cool. Back here for the NWS Pliers, these are actually 4 pliers. This is not how I would have preferred to do them. The fat holders are here in the back. They are not big enough for the NWS Comfort Grip, which is a fantastic handle, but they do work in this orientation. I was just trying to kind of like fill in space to sort of give you a feel for what it is. But anyway, coming from that Stavilla scraper, you got like 12, 6, and 3-inch extensions. Again, since this is modular, I'm able to populate the 3-inch here instead of having to waste a space here. Then, since this was also in the drawer, I took the Wera 1/4-inch locking extension, and just for the sheer heck of it, I threw in a Heyco. If you don't believe me, a little Heyco Wera cat. Use it to take the grill apart on the truck there. And then right there, weird things you can do, again, with your space. Since it's modular, I had to use a spacer. But check it out, the clearance there, you can adjust it as needed, and I've got a Philo T-handle. Then we're just not connected at all, right? I could have done spacer, spacer, spacer and gotten over. But the beauty of it is with the magnetic base, which does work. Let's see. I don't have a spare one here. I'll show you in just a second, but it does pull through this little thin Husky drawer liner. This is, as you can see there underneath everything, it's Husky. It's nothing fancy. Witte Driver, again, 5-piece set, where these would always, I don't care what I have, the biggest issue was these tri-lobes are fantastic, but in terms of storage, good luck. It's not happening. You're going to have to stagger it, and then you're going to have to skip and jump around. Using the spacer, only one per side, I was able to fit the 2 biggest slotted, and then the next one, and these are all, I mean, like, I can lift that up effortlessly, right? So the spacers are functional. Again, right here, I would typically not do this, but for space considerations, I went ahead and kind of tied this in. The number 1 stops here, the number 2, as that comes into focus with my hand out, same thing, you just position it accordingly. Then, to really flex on things, I threw down the speed handle. That thing has always been in a weird, it's just awkward to store in a drawer. You could probably, if you wanted to, fit like a stubby or some sort of a small driver extension in there as well. Or if there's like a couple of sockets you always use, you could go that route too. But again, since I wanted to slide these Husky ratchets over, I thought, hey, let's just go ahead and see if we can fit something in there. Now, you'll note I've got one here, one here. You could put one here. You could do one at the tip. All sorts of crazy things you can do. And this is, again, just me throwing this crud together right after we unboxed them. So, as much as I love being right, I was right. Again, on the bench, these are sort of like, yeah, you know, it's got potential, but $25, I don't know. You know, the orange things kind of come out and they fall. I will say the orange things are super hard to get in. That's not me nitpicking, that's like facts. Hopefully yours are in place. I had like probably 4-ish out of everything we unboxed so far. I've got a sealed screwdriver set over there that just like were loose from the beginning, and they're a pain to get reset. So it's once you're set in place, I think you can kind of wedge them down and just push on them and you're probably going to be fine. But if they come loose, like you need small hands or something to help make that happen. But yeah, the potential with this is unreal. If you like organizing, if you like this sort of stuff, you're kind of home free, I'm not gonna lie. Now these Husky ratchets, I mean, these are all HP, this entire lineup right here. This obviously is the 9/16 or the 1/2 inch. That sucker's my workhorse. Look at that, beautiful. And again, this is not a plier holder, that's legitimately one of the screwdriver guys. So as you see there, like it'll spin around a bit. Let me find one. Let's just get the speed handle out of here. So this right here, again, no trickery, that's the magnet. It's not like, I mean, it's not setting the earth on fire. I've got lots of magnets that are plenty stronger than this. But I mean, for just like a rough position, it's going to be fine. Now, obviously, like if I come in and I grab this driver and I twist it, like you can kind of see what happens. I can totally shift these around. It's not like these are set in stone. You probably wouldn't want them that way. Once you maximize your space, I think you're going to be home free with them. And you know, if they do shift from time to time when you like grab something and inadvertently move it, it's simple to adjust is the perk. But this just kind of gives you an idea of like the possibilities. And this has sort of been like a catch drawer. It's honestly mainly sockets, which I've moved out now. A bunch of our Wera stuff. I actually had a can't talk about it thing here because I've never made the video on it, but a big case of something here. Just all sorts of stuff, and this is sort of what I had in mind. Again, that's why I bought 3 sets of the screwdriver ones. I was like, you know, I want to see what we could do with our ratchets, and I'm telling you, that's gonna look killer when we get everything set up. Now obviously it's not like ideally designed for the Husky ratchets, you know, like in terms of like coupling these together, but we can certainly make something work. So I'm more than content with these thus far. I do still think they're a little pricey. I would definitely, if you're interested in these, by all means get them. Based on my little time playing around here, it's super satisfying. If you're that type of a person, you know who you are. But if you enjoy organization or kind of like maximizing space and, you know, just, I've always been the type, you know, like if I know where something is at, I can get to it and it's not a big deal. But at the same time, like this is functional for everyone, right? But you know who you are. If you're into organization and space saving stuff like that, you're going to love these things. I will still maintain what I said from the beginning. I would wait until they're on sale. I think they've got a really neat product here. Again, the biggest advantage is that this is all modular. So with pretty much every other product on the market, I'd have like my 5 here, and then it's like, well, you bought the 10 or the 12 piece holder, so it would just continue. And then it's like, okay, dead space, dead space, dead space. Now we can do something. And with these, if you want to stop after the T-handle, you just stop after the T-handle. If you want to continue it down here and not up there, you can do that. It's literally modular, and that's the beauty of the system. So I think they've come up with a really cool product. I think it's going to be different preferences for different people, I think is the best way to put it. Some of you, this is going to be the bee's knees. You're going to love it. You can't get enough of them. Others of you are going to be like, Yeah, just give me a magnetic rail. You know, these idiots spend all this money. I did the same thing with like $5 and change at a hardware store. To each their own type of a thing is what I have to say to that. So my biggest knock is I do think they're a little pricey, but man, the potential for this in terms of like complete customization, short of like foaming out every drawer in your box, there's a lot of possibilities here. So sadly, I had so much junk in here and the wrench drawer that I kind of need to get everything back. And to do that, you might have to take this crud apart. Screwdriver drawer is another story, but yeah, that's kind of why I went with 3 sets of the screwdriver pieces. I was thinking, hey, if that works for extensions, that's a game changer. So that's what we did. Let's go ahead. Let me just take this one piece here, and we're gonna hop to Craftsman and then to a US General box, see how the magnet does. Alright, so don't judge, but this is my first big box, if you will, 26-inch Craftsman. Never could afford the 3-drawer middle. Never understood why those cost so much, so it's the top hutch on the little 26-incher. But right there, I've got to tell you, this stuff here, this was actually sold at Sears. I remember buying it there. I think I was in high school or something, maybe college. And it's almost like what you could get at Walmart. Like if this is white or like a baby blue color, it'd be like what people have in their bathroom or their kitchen cabinets type of a deal. Pretty decent product, really. Now the downside versus what we have in the Husky, this is open, right? So there's like, you have dirt on your pliers when you put them in, they go down. You know the drill. I'm gonna say this does adhere, but not quite as well, in my opinion. The drawer has plenty of height for it. So what we'll do now is actually hop over to a US General. Simple enough, virgin drawer here. That might be the best pull so far. That's not really like a testament to US General's greatness. It's probably just to how thin the drawer liner is. But hey, I mean, if this is what you've got, this works beautifully for you. So whatever it is in the Craftsman box, that's a little thick. This does adhere, but nothing like this. This is really good. This is probably a little bit stronger than the Husky. The Husky adhered very well too. I will say the Husky does have some drawers with slightly thicker liners, if I remember correctly, especially the top hutch at the very top. So keep that in mind. But like if US General is your jam, these Toolbox Widgets, again, it's nothing earth-shattering strong. I mean, like you can effortlessly move this thing around. I mean, God forbid the halder come down. Yeah. But it's a deal where it does stick fairly well. So that's kind of the tour of what I have available for you in terms of mats and drawers. And for good measure, we're back at the Husky. In the US General, very similar. Surprisingly, that Craftsman one must just be a little thicker. Must interfere with the magnet a bit more. But yeah, I gotta say, it's exactly what I thought it was when we unboxed these things. I had my initial first impression before I brought you in, and then we took more apart, and I was like, man, these are expensive. And I said, I think they're gonna show better once they like pop. Yeah, they do. They show way better. You appreciate them more. My advice to you, don't dwell, get them on sale, don't dwell on the price, get whatever you brought in to test, throw it in the box that you have in mind to use it with, start organizing, and then you'll be like, yeah, these are pretty cool. And that way, you know, it's easier for you to justify this price that you expend on them. Now, like I said, I think the best advice I can give you, follow Toolbox Widget. Keep tabs on their website. If you're not on social media, just go direct to their website, you know, once a week or something. You should catch all the sales that way. When they have a sale, buy them, give them a try. If you love them, wait for another sale, stock up on what you want, and just continue that pattern. So, like I said, we are going to be bringing in a lot of toolbox organizers. We're going to see what we like the best. And I had a good feeling that this would work well for extensions, and that's something that's always been like difficult for me to manage. It doesn't work well with like socket. I use cheap socket rails. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Like socket rails I have, they're the cheapest ones you can buy. Okay, and extensions just do not work well with that style of a socket rail. So they're always just loose, rolling around in the box. I usually wedge them so they don't, but this is awesome. This is a step up, a huge step up in terms of my my socket extension organizer. So whatever you're looking for, keep it in mind, check out some options. And as I said, we will be back at some point in the not too distant future, sort of have a more comprehensive overview. We've taken a look at some stuff from Ernst way back. We had mechanics time savers. There's some other things I've got on the agenda. But man, I'm telling you, there's just something about this. I could make videos like this all the time, and I think people would love them. Channel would probably be huge. Just I don't even have to talk. Probably better if I didn't. And just showcasing organized drawers. Not everyone's cup of tea, but man, the people that like that stuff love it. And I kind of fall in that camp, even though I don't necessarily always do it. So with that said, I'm going to quit rambling. My initial impressions were correct. Expensive, yikes. Did I really buy these things? But seeing them in the drawer doing what they were designed to do, yeah, they're all right. So they're a pretty cool little product, I have to say. So like I said, I'll leave it at that. If you've used Toolbox Widgets, what are your impressions of them? Were you like me? You're like, oh, I don't know about these. And then you use them, you're like, oh yeah. Or is it a deal where you regret buying them? Is it something that you just can't get enough of? If you're seeing them right now for the first time, what are your thoughts? Are they a step up from what you're currently using? Are they a step down? Are you intrigued to try them? Let me know and share your thoughts with everyone in the comments section. And then that way, hopefully somebody stumbles upon this video, sees my thoughts, reads the comments, sees what everyone else has to say about the product or the brand and how you're using them or what you prefer better. It should help them out and save them some money and time, and that's, again, ultimately the end goal. So, in the meantime, I gotta say, this is super fun. If you throw the price aside, regardless if it's this, something 3 times as expensive, organizing stuff like this is just super fun. At least I think so. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop. In the meantime, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all 3 at Lone Star Mopars. Automotive content Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Tool contents, miscellaneous stuff like that, Saturday, 9 a.m. So be sure to check it out. Subscribe if you have not. Let me know your thoughts on all this stuff. And I will catch you back here for more from the shop.